Do you have noodle arms? I'm gonna show you how to fix it. All right, guys and girls, here we are at the gym. I just finished training arms, and it's something that I am beyond passionate about because so many guys and girls come to me like, Chris, like my arms won't grow. And one of the first things I always say is, well, what's your training look like? Most people think it's some secret drug or supplement I'm not taking. And I'm like, to me, I want to dig in. What does your training look like? And 9 times out of 10, they say, oh, I do push-pull legs. I do upper-lower. Awesome. If you've watched this video, you know that I hate push-pull legs for arm growth. And that's because you need a dedicated arm day if you want your arms to be, in my mind, the best they can possibly be, right? Because in anything in life, if you want to drastically improve it, we have to have dedication to that in a time allotment specifically focused on improving that skill. And to me, training biceps after you've destroyed your back or training triceps after you've done chest and shoulders is not the time because you're already exhausted, not only physically, but mentally. So I need you to have a dedicated arm day where you can focus all your time, effort, energy on just growing your arms. And if you've watched any of these videos, I'll get a chance to link one that we've shot of plenty of examples on the channel of ever since I got back into serious arm training, that's when my arms began to take off and grow again. And I too fell for the, oh, push-pull legs is you can grow arms because you can get more frequency. And that kind of leads into my next point of a lot of times arms don't need more because they already get tons of stimulation from your pulling, from your rowing, from your pressing. So you don't need to do another push-pull leg cycle and hit it twice. You just need to remove arms from your chest and your back and then have your own arm day. That, to me, is gonna be the best way. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, Chris, just increase the frequency and train arms 2 or 3 times a week. Okay, that may work in the short run, but what happens a lot of times I see with people doing that is they run into elbow issues. And next thing you know, their forearms start killing them. And then if your joints begin to hurt, we can't grow a muscle because anytime you do a curl, something is giving you a shooting pain down to your hand, and you can't focus on contracting your bicep because the pain is there. So, little quick tidbit there. More is not always better with arms. Being better is better. Next up, you aren't chasing a pump and you're falling into that trap of progressive overload. I get it. Scientifically and on paper, if a muscle is stronger, it is bigger. I would agree with you. But if you don't feel that muscle working and it's not getting pumped, are you truly working, say, just your triceps or just your biceps? And I would say no. The amount of guys I would see come to a gym and they'd train arms, and they'd walk out of there with a trap and delt pump, but their arms still look teeny, is endless. You remember I worked in the gym for over a decade and I'd see people train, and I always studied like the guys with good arms, what do they do? The guys with bad arms, what did they do? And you learn from both of those groups. And if you can't get on that muscle and stay there, it's not gonna grow. So let's say I'm doing tricep push downs and I'm getting my erectors into it and my delts into it and my abs into it, and I'm using 200 pounds on a stack. Well, let's say my triceps are only taking 50% of that load, and that's 100. Where if I do it strictly and press 130, technically you're using more tricep load. So what I need you to think about there, guys, is it isn't always the total load that you're using, but how much is going to the target muscle. And anyone that typically comes into training with me, that's one of the first things they notice outside of the pacing in which I train, is they're like, man, you stay on that target muscle and you milk the shit out of it. And that's what I make you do when you come train with me. And stereotypically what happens is they're a lot weaker and the muscle fatigue's a lot quicker because they aren't used to exhausting a muscle. They're used to their entire upper body, for example, assisting in the lifts, where I'm gonna get your form so freaking spot on that the muscle has no choice but to grow and get pumped and get full of blood. So to go back to the original point I'm trying to make here, guys, is if the muscle of your bicep and tricep aren't getting pumped, it is not gonna grow. I'm sorry, it's not. NOT. It has to be full, it has to be crazy. Every arm video I shoot, no matter if it's the off-season, pre-contest, health phase, rebound phase, my arms are vascular from my freaking tips of my delts to my wrist. And there's a reason for that. It's because I'm training that target muscle. So I encourage you all to do the same. Another thing that I hear a lot of times is, I hate arm day, it's boring. So is abs, so is calves, so is mobility work, so is cardio. Notice the trend there? Make it fun. If you love training legs, your legs grow. I know that because that was once me. I have an obsession right now with back training. Wonder why? It's growing? Because I'm obsessed with it. So make this a priority. Take it seriously. It's not just, oh, I'm going to do some tricep push downs and do some dips and some skull crushers and then curls and then get out of there. No, take it as serious as you do your squats, your deadlifts, your bent rows, your dumbbell rows, your shoulder pressing, your side laterals, and watch your arms take off. Like, that to me is such a huge point. Is so many guys go in there and just lackadaisically train arms. They don't take the same level of seriousness and mentality that they would say on a leg or a back day or a chest and shoulder day, because they just don't love it as much. Well, find a way to love it. And that might mean you need to change your training style. That might mean you need to buy Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Those have literally the best arm days in there. I'm sorry. There's no programming on the internet right now that has better arm programming than mine. If you don't think those Sub-Zero and Scorpion arm days are great, it's because you aren't doing them properly, and as written. And I stand by that. And I challenge anyone, if you think those workouts are trash, come and train one with me in person, and we'll replicate it. And I guarantee you, you won't be able to scratch your head at the end of them. And then the last point I want to make here before wrapping this video up is exercise selection is extremely important. And to me, exercise selection and exercise sequence are tied and married together, right? I love dumbbell skull crushers, but I would never dream of them doing first on arm day. It would wreck my elbows. I love dips, to be honest, but I would never do them first on arm day. I need you to think about the exercises you choose that you connect with and feel with, and then you progressively get better at them with the execution, and then progressively get stronger at them, but then you also do them in a proper order. So if I'm talking about specifically for triceps, I tend to like to do 2 cable push downs, some sort of dip or close grip bench press, and then finish with a stretching movement, whether it be a floor press, whether that be a floor extension, a rocking press, a dumbbell skull crusher, a kettlebell skull crusher. Any of the exercises you just heard me list that are going to stretch and overload the tricep in a lengthened position. That's the order in which I like to do them. Then for biceps, I always like to start with at least 1 cable curl. Then I tend to like to do a hammer variation. That could be on the cables, that could be the dumbbells, that can even be with a bar, like a Swiss bar. Then I like to go into a preacher curl motion, and I'm going to always lean towards a dumbbell preacher curl or a machine preacher curl because it just feels great. I can do one arm at a time and isolate each bicep. And then I'm going to finish with a stretching movement, so some sort of stretch curl to fully lengthen that bicep. So if you look at that, of all of those 8 exercises that I just listed, that's going to be the best way for you to grow your arms. And the final point here, guys, if you're training arms below the 8 rep range, another reason you aren't growing. Take those things at least to 10, as many as 20, and watch your arms grow. Watch your pumps get better. Suddenly, you're like, man, I'm starting to stretch out the sleeves of a large, and then an extra large, and then a double extra large. And then eventually, I think Chad's got me on camera one day saying, man, I'm stretching the sleeves out of a 4XL. I never would have dreamed of doing that. Not 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And it's because I've retooled my arm training to all these principles I'm listing for you. So stop having small arms. Remove the noodle arm comment. Because listen, we all want to look jacked. Whether you're a runner, whether you're a football player, whether you're a bodybuilder, or just a dad on the beach, right? If you have big arms, people are like, oh man, he lifts weights. End of story. Why? Because they're shown in a t-shirt or a tank top or with your shirt off. It's the first thing people notice. Or people are like, make a muscle. Well, what's make a muscle? There, right? People aren't like, ooh, let me hit a front lat spread. No, if somebody says, ooh, you're big, make a muscle, it's this. What is that? That's bicep and tricep. So train your arms, have an arm day, have fun with it, enjoy it, and progress. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, comment below. What do you prefer training, biceps or triceps? For me, triceps is more fun because I like the variety in which I can do so. I love dips, I love push downs, I love overhead extensions, I love the burn of it. So I like biceps, but if for me, triceps is the winner. So comment below, biceps or triceps. Again, until next time, like, share, subscribe, Cedmonds TV.